Good morning. We're here.
Morning.
Thursday morning. I'm still kind of getting used to this being Thursday and not Friday. But that
Does it make your week longer?
I said I felt that way all week.
Yeah, there you go. Well, the fun thing is now I can sleep in on a Friday if I want to.
Ooh. That's
That just
exciting.
means I missed the show with TK and Miss Ward. How you two doing today?
I'm good.
I am
Good.
grateful to be alive. We were in Tornado Alley yesterday with those storms coming through. Had tornado that hit down just a few miles from here. So I'm here, and we didn't lose power.
That's amazing. Yeah, I think
Jenny first. Good morning, Garrison. Good morning, Adam. Good morning, Andrew.
Good morning.
The other Andrew.
I like the sleep in suggestion, EJ.
Yeah, I think he thinks, what is sleeping in, right? Sleeping in means I stay in bed for 30 extra minutes.
I did not want to get out of bed today. It's like really gray and I don't know. It's not raining yet, but it's just like one of those mornings that you don't want to get out of bed.
Yeah. Well,
I'm here.
If you don't know, it's the morning grind. We do Bible and business, a little bit of Bible, a little praying, and then we talk about business. And I have my friends with me, Jenny Seeley from the Outcome Academy, and Cavalry. I always want to say Calvary, but it's Cavalry Appliance, and Shayna Shadowing.
We were talking about Jenny this week, and Austin goes, "What's the name of their company?" I said, "Jenny Appliance." What is it?
Jenny.
Well, even Shelby, who answers our phones all day, sometimes it sounds like she's saying cavalry, but it's all good. People write cavalry on our checks too. It still goes to the bank. It's just fine.
Yeah. People ask me all the time, like, how do I spell appliance? I'm like, it doesn't even matter. Just write EJ. It all goes to the bank.
Yeah.
And if they write my name, it's in a different account.
I think it'd be worse if we had to try to tell people to spell refrigerator on a check.
Yeah.
Well, I will say I had to teach more than one person at my office help how to spell Frigidaire.
Frigidaire. Yeah.
But anyway,
So, who's got the prayer and who's got the scripture today so we can get rolling? We've got a super action-packed episode today with a lot of information.
yeah, I'm not excited about it. This is one of the boring topics. Zach picks the topic, so if you're not amused today, it's Zach's fault. Jenny is really good at this, and she's going to lead the show.
And she's excited.
And she's excited.
I am excited. I do love policies and procedures. However, I am the plumber with the leaky faucet because I manage so many of them for my full-time job that in our business, I, like everybody else, am not the best at it. So we're going to talk about it today.
All right. Matthew 5:37. It simply says, "But let your yes be yes and your no, no. For whatever is more than these is from the evil one." Now, I think a lot of people take that differently. And I quickly looked up a meaning of that verse this morning because it, on the face of it, it just says, I kind of feel like it's just tell the truth, right? Don't lie. Yes is yes, no is no. Don't be making up stuff in the middle. But the context of it was actually about swearing or adding an oath to your promise. Like, I really mean this. And the contradiction to it is insinuating that, well, if you don't say I really mean it or I swear that this is true, then are all those times lying? Just simply yes and no. Be truthful about it.
Yeah.
You don't have to prove that you're telling the truth by adding extra words. What are you doing? So, kind of makes me think that I had a sister as a kid lied about everything. I don't know why. But I swear to God. It's like, no, you're just trying to make us believe it. Andrew says, "I have the best procedures. I promise if you follow these words, you'll be successful." Okay.
All right. So Shayna, you want to pray us in before we dive in?
Sure.
Awesome.
Dear Heavenly Father, thank you for this glorious day. Thank you for the breath in our lungs and for once again allowing us the privilege to be able to gather together and discuss the Bible and discuss business. Father God, I give you the praise and the glory. Let our words today be for you. Let our actions today be for you. Father, lead us and guide us as we go about our day. In the name of Jesus.
Amen.
Thank you. So I thought I'd start off with just defining a couple of terms before we start diving into all the things. So first, kind of the difference between what's a policy and what's a procedure. So how do you guys define what is a policy, what is a procedure, what is a tip sheet, what's like a form or a document, and how do they all fit into how you guys run your office? So do you want to start, Shayna?
Well, since I don't make up the policies and procedures, I thought that they were the same thing.
Okay. I'm sure a lot of other people do too. That's why I'm asking the question. How about you, EJ?
I don't know the technical answer, but I'll give my understanding of the answer after I say good morning, Joe Seeley.
Good morning,
Yeah,
Joe
good morning,
Seeley.
Joe.
So procedure is kind of a step-by-step instruction on how to do something so that you do it consistently the same way every time. Policy is more like a guideline that
Rules.
when this happens, this is how we handle it. Kind of like the rules, if you will.
Yes, you're like right on the money, EJ. So your policies are going to be like your whys, your whens, things like your employee handbook is a really good example of a policy. Your attendance policy, your dress code policy, all of those things are kind of giving, like our Bible verse said, the truth about what your company feels is the standard so that it's not confusing. It's really clear for people. it's almost like a contract. If you're thinking about when you enter into an arrangement with somebody and everybody doesn't understand the rules that we're all playing by, then it's confusing and frustrating. And then people might get in trouble for something they didn't even know was something they had to do. So the point of having the policies is so important because we want to make sure that people always have clear instructions and they know exactly what they're doing. The procedure is about giving also your people on your team the same experience, but also your customers. So you have your procedures in place so that everybody's doing everything the same way, and that every customer, every time they come back to you, they're not getting a different experience, because that would be confusing to the customer. And then your tip sheets, your forms, your documents, all of those types of things, super important to keep them with whatever policy they're with so you can have document control. Do you guys kind of have document control where there's not like 10 different versions of things going around, but you know which one is in force at the time? So how do you do that?
Ours are all online on our platform. So anytime we put something new out, it gets put out there, and the team members actually have to sign that they have acknowledged they've supposed to have read it, but they sign.
Yeah. How do you do that, EJ?
Is there a software for that?
So, I mean, at the hospital, we have a software. I'm sure it's super expensive. I don't pay the bills at the hospital, but we manage like many thousands of policies throughout the hospital. So I think for organizations that have really huge amounts of policies in many, many departments, it might be good to invest in a software. And I did try to find one for a small scale, and I think they're out there, but I've found a different way to manage ours. So I'm curious how you guys do it, because I think that's a question that a lot of people have is where do I keep it? Because having a binder in the office is great unless you're out on the road and you don't know how to handle something. So,
well, first, good morning, Fred Davila. Thanks for joining us. And extra info, we read from Matthew this morning, and that's his son's name, I believe, if I didn't forget it. Good morning. Thanks for joining us. So, Zach and TK gave me a lot of credit over the last couple of years about being the SOP guy. I was the one that was writing procedures and stuff before they were. Now, Zach had a handbook that he got from the HR guy. I think it's Big Picture Consulting.
Yeah.
Shout out to them. Is a partner of ours on the Service Alliance group. If you go to the website, you can get discounts there. But then, of course, we have the policies and procedures in the Service Alliance group. Now, what we do in the Service Alliance group is we have a shared Google Drive. Now, if they change, we don't get a notification that we all need to sign it. Mm-hmm. So I like the idea of having it on a shared drive and some way that we can make sure everybody knows something's changed and then acknowledge it, like Shayna's talking about. But I'm one of those guys that I did the work to make procedures and policies. I just never shared them with anybody. Mm-hmm. They were on my own Google Drive, and I knew what they were. And I would talk about, the procedure of how to do this and that. And I would show them, but they didn't see it. They didn't know, and they still don't. And we're working on that now, where I've hired Stephanie. She's writing some of the procedures as we go now. And that's the next step, actually, Jenny, is I want to find the way to do like what Shayna's doing for my business.
So I think you could just have somebody initial, if you give them edit rights for a period of time. I don't know that I would leave edit rights open all the time on live procedures, because you don't want anybody to accidentally change something. But put all of a sudden they have 8 weeks of vacation or something like that. But not that anybody would do that. But you want them to have a chance to initial and date it. So you could do it that way. The way that we found to store ours for the time being until another amazing opportunity arises where the way it works at the hospital, it's very clear who owns the policy, the date that it went into action, that that it was finally approved by all the people that need to approve it, and then you can actually see in green and red all of the different changes that happened within it. Anytime there's a new change, it gets pushed out to everybody. So that software is pretty much the gold standard of what we would all desire. But for now, the easiest way I found to kind of store them in a place where everybody on the team has access on a dime is to make a page on our website. And it's cavalryappliance.com, and then I think it's /team, but then we have it password protected so that like everybody can't just get in there and see it. So if you have a way if you manage your own website, that's one way you can do it, is to make a hidden page that isn't always up for everybody to click on, but your team knows how to access it. And then we just have hyperlinks to the policies. I have like 3 columns, administrative, technical, and HR or something like that. And then the hyperlinks under each column.
I think Sal was saying basically what you just said. He probably typed it as you were saying it. And buenos dias. So, good morning. I've been really thinking about this a bit as we were coming up to this, and Shayna's business. I mean, it's customer service is what you're in. The virtual office, and you guys plug and play different people. Frequently. You've got people that come and go, and it's not like it's a revolving door, but they need to be ready quickly. And the whole thing about your business is how to repeat a high level of service in a short amount of time. I mean, it's all centered around these procedures.
Yeah, 100%.
What was kind of the thought process on that, and how did you get started with it?
Well, like for me, like it really truly was taking the policies and procedures that I had created for my own company, and I had team members, but then even that was not enough. We had policies and procedures. Like if you wanted a policy and procedure on how to breathe while in a customer's house, we had that. Like they were there, and our team members knew. Now, and of course, with those, we were old school. Everybody had their own copies. Everybody signed a copy. The signed copy went in their folder, which is always an option also until you find something digital, or digital really truly does become available. But I took my policies and procedures and we implement them here. Unfortunately, it wasn't enough for the scale that we got at. So it really truly was about taking what I had and going even more. Like for instance, our procedures. Our training initially was like one day, like someone was on the phones on the second day, answering the phones and scheduling, like just get it done. Like it's not that hard type of thing, right? And now it's a pretty intense 10 days if they aren't touching Rossware. And then an additional 3 days if they have to have their hands in Rossware. And so everything is lined up and everything is signed, and they have to click to get to the next document. Thankfully, it was something we just added to our own platform that we built. So that made it a lot easier. But, many times I talk to customers and I'm like, I talk about one of my favorite companies, Pizza Appliance. He's been with us since right after COVID. So we're almost at 4 years. It was June 2020. And I tell people, like his map on our system is crazy with zip codes everywhere. And I'm like, yeah, he was pen and paper. Like his map was on a piece of paper, and we would have to try to find it on the piece of paper where that customer was at. And it really truly is ever evolving. Like you cannot stop. Like we're even in the process of redoing the procedures for each of our team members, because Heather, who's our floor manager, her procedure actually is different than it was a year ago when we created them. So we're now going to actually we're in the process of redoing those, and quarterly we're going to start reviewing is this still my role? And if not, what am I doing? And who's taking over those jobs that I'm no longer doing? So
that was one of the questions that I was going to ask you guys is, how do you have some type of process for how often you're reevaluating your policies and procedures? Are you kind of just doing it on the fly when there's a change, or?
yeah, we did not have a process. Things just, hey, we need to change them. And so we changed them, but we're going to start evaluating them quarterly now because things really do change that often.
Yeah, that was one of my plans, and Jenny's in my mastermind group, and I had a goal that I just kind of abandoned in place because it just didn't happen, and I don't want to keep dragging it out. But TK brought up the idea to do one procedure a week.
Mm-hmm.
So
it's a great idea.
If you plan a period of time each week for office work, plan a period of that time devoted for creating a procedure or a policy for your business. And I couldn't keep up with that, even just one. And the thing that I've been noticing is we change it as it happens, as it changes. For example, I had wrote up a procedure for getting the free compressor from LG for the refrigerators. And then LG changed their process. It used to be call in one number and get the letter of authorization and then call the next number and order the stuff. Terrible process. But now the first part's the same. Some of the prompts on the phone are different, and the ordering, you have to do it all online. So yesterday, I went through the process again, live in person, and typed in on the other screen what I was doing. Because I gave this procedure to Stephanie last week. And she's like, this don't work. Okay. Now I have to do this and make sure it works. Otherwise, I'm back to doing it myself. You know what I mean? But there should be some kind of notification or schedule where you review different policies on an annual basis. Maybe you got 5 policies you review per month. That's probably how you guys do it at the hospital or something.
Well, at the hospital, we are bound by regulatory standards, so we don't have any wiggle room. We have to review almost all of our procedures every 2 years. And then some things have to be reviewed every year. And so in that software, it just notifies us that it has to be reviewed and updated. And it could be as simple as reading it and saying it's fine, but you still have to look at it every 2 years and make sure that it's correct. So I feel like that's really important. But the other thing that it gives you an opportunity to do is to clean up some of those inconsistencies or new processes or a new software that's changed. And there are tools you can use. So here's something, a little trick that I think I read it in Michael Hyatt's book, Free to Focus, but your procedures don't all have to be written out in that format, which the format is really great to have, like the title, who's in charge of it, the supplies you need, the steps, all those things are great. But it can be a video that you recorded using Loom or some type of screen recorder, and you can just put the hyperlink to the video. Or it can also be, have you heard of something called Tango? Have you guys ever used Tango? It's a Chrome extension. So if you look up Tango step-by-step procedures or something like that in Google, you'll find out what it is. But it works for anything that's in the cloud or that's online. And so you click on the Tango Chrome extension, and then you say start, and it will capture every click that you do in a process. And then you can just save that as a PDF or just copy the whole thing. And it actually does screenshots and step-by-step instructions. And it has a little square around each button that you click or whatever. So those kind of tools are really cool for helping you speed up the process of writing things. And then the other pro tip is use ChatGPT. Tell it to write a procedure, and then take that draft and modify it for yourself so that you're not having to write everything from scratch. So that was kind of like the next piece that I wanted to go over, which is where do you begin and how do you even do this at all? And so at Outcome Academy, we have a 3-step process that we kind of use for everything that we teach, which is identify, prioritize, plan. So for our identify phase of our procedure list, I went straight to the appliance alliance membership and I looked at all the policies that you had there. So it was a really great reminder for me of what kinds of things we needed to even be looking at. So if anybody's not a member, that's a really great resource. If you are a member, log in there if you don't know where to begin, and at least you have a starting point. So you can do kind of a brain dump of all the different policies and procedures that you think you might need in your business. And then the next step, prioritize. You're just going to go through and think about what is super critical right now that your team needs. Or if you happen to be onboarding a new person and you need those tools to train them, that's a great accelerator to make you do it, so that they can have some step-by-step things. And then, like EJ was saying, plan out your strategy about how you're going to tackle it. And we use Todoist for recurring tasks in our office. And so in Todoist, you can literally say, that's another app. It's like to-do list, but without the L in it. And then you can just literally put on there, review employee handbook every June 1st. And then every June 1st, it will tell you that you have to do that action. So I love Todoist for recurring tasks, not for like vision planning and day-to-day things that you have to do that are coming up in your business. But that helps me. So what kind of things are you guys working on right now? Like, what is your main priority that you don't have a policy or procedure for that you feel like you need to implement right away in your business?
That means you
We
can
have-
go first.
I was going to say we have one for everything, but it's really right now, it's really truly about reviewing and updating. Which ones do we need to review? Right now, we're starting with our roles of we found out there's not even actually one in there for me. So creating one for me and Jason, updating the primary roles. So it'd be Tabitha's, Austin's, Heather's, and Kayla's roles, updating those roles. And then that is what we are focusing on right now.
You guys even have a procedure for what to do when the soap or toilet paper runs out in the team bathroom.
We do.
Wow.
We do.
That's
I'm not
ambitious.
joking. I had to follow the policy. When I was there, I reached the end of the toilet paper and I had to read the policy on where to find the toilet paper and what to do.
Oh my gosh.
And I'll tell you, and it sounds funny because we're talking about bathroom etiquette, right? And toilet paper. And who out there has used the end of the toilet paper, or maybe somebody else in their family did, and then you go and sit down, there ain't none. Like I have to do it all the time. Like tell my kids, bring me some TP. Shayna at my office help, they have a sign-in sheet for everybody that uses the bathroom. They have to log how long they were in there. It's a daily cleaning log.
Is there a cell phone box outside the door so that nobody goes in there and gets on their cell phone while they're in there?
So they have a list of minimum supplies that have to be in there each day, and they know where to get it. So somebody has the job each day to take care of each space in the building, and they have to do that. And I know I had to look for the toilet paper. It was there, but I had to restock it. And then somebody else came through and they had to restock the soap, and it wasn't in there. So Shayna got the soap for them. So it really is a big deal to make the procedures and policies for the things that matter, like toilet paper and soap.
Well, in the same instance, our toilet paper and soap are the parts on your guys' trucks. Because if they aren't paying attention and there's not a procedure in place to say that they need that part on their truck, then they're not going to have it on there. And then they go to the job and they're not going to have that part. That's why, like, our trucks got to where every single truck had the same exact part in the same exact bin. Jason could walk onto truck number 2 and pull it off at the same part out of bin 3 that he could walk into truck number 5 and pull the part out of bin number 3. And we had to do that because otherwise they stuff extra tools and extra parts instead of returning them, and then they don't restock the tools and the parts that they need.
So that's a good point, and this kind of gets back to Jenny's question before I derailed it with the toilet paper stuff. Right now, we're working on setting up our inventory. We're using Sortly. Sortly's works out really well. You can scan barcodes on existing parts, and it automatically fills in what it is for 90+% of them. They have pictures and descriptions and everything, and then there is some steps for startup, like starting and setting up the procedures so that it works. Now, I purchased the Sortly Pro so I could have multiple users and logins and track all the stuff. And me and Stephanie started this out. And I'm going to talk for a minute. Is that all right?
Of course.
So I know that Shayna and I are both whiteboard people, right? That's why she has an entire wall in her office with whiteboard paint, dry erase whiteboard. I used my big screen in the office and opened up a Google Doc, and we wrote out the things that we need our inventory to do. And number one was it needs to be easy. And, and we went down from there. We need to be able to scan. It needs to be quick. We need to know where it is on everything that we do. And we have been talking about this for 2 years. And the whole idea was if you're going to do it right. Mm-hmm. And Matt Harris is using Sortly. He's loving it. So when we finally did it, we studied how to set it up. We took the time, and I had Stephanie draft procedures for it. Now, Andrew came in. He's a trainee right now, an apprentice, and 2 hours each morning while I did my office time, he did inventory, starting with the parts that are in-house upstairs. So we use that as practice to set it up. And yesterday we had our team meeting about it. We introduced it. We went through the procedure, put it up on the big screen behind me. And I had my phone hooked up to show them how to do it. We're scanning parts and moving them from here to there. And the question came up. We had done one van, Terry's van, and they inventoried everything to the van. So if we look for this heating element, we know it's in Terry's van. I don't know where, but it's in the van. And we have shelves and bins and everything and drawers. I like what Shayna was saying about Jason's truck. And I've seen the pictures of this truck. And I've seen some pictures of other vans that are set up. My dream is to have matching vans. With matching inventories, shelves labeled exactly the same. And if I get in Terry's van, I know where it is. Until we get there, we do have 2 matching vans with very similar setups. And I said, well, we need to label the shelves, and they didn't really get the reason.
Right.
And I said, well, here's the deal. If we're going to do it, we got to do it right.
You're right on track, EJ. That's a very Lean Six Sigma way of thinking.
Yeah. So we took the extra 2 or 3 hours yesterday and labeled all of the shelves and went back and moved all of the items from Terry's van into the shelves that they're supposed to be in. Now, my van is labeled just like his, but my parts are in different places. So I didn't want to rock the boat too much. I said, okay, wherever you got your parts, they just need to be in that spot. I need to know that when I pull up the app and I type in 279838 for a Whirlpool dryer heater, I know where it is. Mine's in a different spot, but all I got to do is look it up on the app, and there it is. So those things make me very happy because I love organization. I just don't like doing it. So I don't know where I was going with it, but there's an example of how
it's about having a procedure. You're having a procedure for your part storage, and the supporting document for that would be a map of what it looks like and where it's supposed to go, or a list of your standard parts. So along with all of your instructions and your procedure, you want to have those documents housed in the same exact place so they're easy access for people to grab.
Absolutely. Let's answer Sal's question real quick.
What is it?
He asked Shayna, what service softwares are my office help plugged into?
Oh, okay.
I'm assuming CRM. So we have House Call Pro, Workies, Jobber. We just brought on Squarespace. I just had a company that started yesterday that had their own custom built software. Really, truly, ServiceWorks is another one, and KickServe. Those are the ones we're currently using right now. Basically, if it is easy enough for us to be able to jump in there and schedule, then we've started adding it. So,
now you didn't
and then of course you got Rossware.
I saw that Jason did an interview with somebody at ServiceWorks.
Yes.
You guys
so the
up with them
CEO, yeah, 100%. They're actually only 2 hours from here, so they're going to come down and visit us sometime. I'm super excited. We don't have any ServiceWorks clients at this time. We have had them. Dr. Dan was with us before he decreased and then went back up again. And absolutely, it was perfectly fine. We've not added any at this point, but that is our newest partnership is with them.
Oh, cool. Sal's stroking my ego. Thank you. Thank you, Sal.
I love it. I mean, you do have your act together, EJ. We all have to commend that. With your policies and procedures, it's good.
You know what I've noticed, and I knew this all along because I have been in management before. And you guys have heard me talk about team before. Almost every time I write or type the word team, I do it in all caps because it means something to me. It's not the initials, but the actual acronym, together everyone achieves more. It fits, but that's not why I do it. I do it because it's important to be part of a team. I got this from the military. Gasper's joining the party here. Thank you, Gasper. I feel bad because I'm the one that's got to click on them. So the thing is, Jenny, you're seeing it now where you and Joe were a great team anyways. You have a great marriage and he has great experience. You have great experience, and he doesn't argue as much as I do with his wife. And I think Jason and Shayna have the same thing. But what we've learned adding Shelby and Will and Shayna with her whole team, you got a beast team. People that's some not with you now, some are, that have made major contributions to putting these things together. And I have as well. Now, I think I've got a couple rock star new employees now that really get it. And I'm excited because I've been wanting this team environment where, we've talked about before visionaries and integrators. I thought I was an integrator, but turns out I'm more of a visionary. I know how I want things to be. And that comes from, I like being organized, but I don't like organizing. I need somebody around me to make these things happen. And that's what really is fun for me, is having a team of good people that are better than me in some areas that can just take that vision and make it happen. Like I'll tell her another time because she's not in here right now, Stephanie. When we went up on the whiteboard, the TV, and we made a list of 10 things that I need the inventory to do and a procedure for it, she just did it. She knows,
awesome.
she understood the assignment, as they say, and made it happen. And I've seen that happen with both of your businesses as well.
Mm-hmm.
So, I mean, this is me humbly saying I appreciate all of that, but I've been trying to do this for 5 years, and now I got people that do it.
Well, kind of like tying all of that together, EJ, your mission, your guys' mission as a team in the Alliance is to elevate the industry. And you can't elevate the industry if you're not being a professional. And you're not being a professional if you don't have your policies and procedures in order. So it's something to strive for. If, we step in Chick-fil-A, and one of the things that we've talked about is sometimes that's funny. One of the things we've talked about before is like in our business is the feeling that policies and procedures can sometimes make you feel micromanaged, or like you don't have the authority to be yourself and answer the phone like you want to if you have scripting and things like that. But when you go to Chick-fil-A and you say thank you, they all know the response, and it makes everybody feel a certain way when they're being a customer of Chick-fil-A. So we want our customers to have the same fantastic experience every time they encounter our businesses, and that's part of being professional. So that's my kind of like closing little summary. So what do you guys have to close it out and give your final words of wisdom with policies and procedures? I do feel like it elevates our industry to be organized that way. And we're not perfect at it by any stretch, but it's something to keep striving for, to keep getting those things solidified.
No, just do it one at a time. It really truly is a necessity. I'm not an integrator either, so I just visionary things and tell people to do it. But thankfully I've had people here to do them for me. But it really truly is. It's and not just to put it in place and leave it. Put it in place and then do it. Implement it and keep doing it over and over, because that is what's going to get you to that next level. Those policies and procedures are there to help you, to guide you, to help your team, to guide them, making sure that everything is done the way that you want to have it done.
Amen.
EJ?
Well, I was going to give a shout out to you, Jenny. You mentioned professional. It's what makes a business professional, is that consistency. And Cavalry Appliance Repair is a most professional servicer award winner, as is EJ's Appliance Repair. And I personally believe my office help is a big part of why my business was and why others are. And they're probably the best, in my opinion, at least, in the industry and what they do. So there's that. And I want to say, backing up what Shayna said, start small.
Mm-hmm.
It's overwhelming to think that you want to do all of your policies and procedures, and it's a big task.
Mm-hmm.
If you have the vision to have them, you'll be intimidated, like me, to not do any of them. If you do one at a time, even if it's one a month, I couldn't do one a week.
Right.
But servicealliancegroup.com, all access members get access to pre-written template SOPs and procedures and policies for anything in your business, the largest library in the industry. So check that out for a good start. And what was the other thing? Gosh. Oh, Mike and Jason mentioned in the video on Tuesday the movie Founder. That's the movie about Ray Kroc starting McDonald's,
Mhm.
taking it from the McDonald's brothers. The second half gets kind of, dicey because it's the battles of him taking the business from them. But there's I think it's the first 30 minutes even, where it talks about how McDonald's came to be and what made it so good in the very beginning. The policies or the processes and procedures,
Yep.
the flow of what happens, making sure that you do what you do really well and only that, and then do it as best as you can. So the Six Sigma, Lean Six Sigma, streamlining, automating your procedures is
It's
the next thing to do.
The consistent customer experience. So everybody always says, and we all know McDonald's doesn't have the best burger in the world, but you know what you're going to get every time you go to McDonald's. And so it's that consistency. It's huge. So I think that pretty much sums up this whole entire thing is that consistency of service that we want to provide for our team and our customers, and interpreting it the way most people interpret that the Bible verse really is about being truthful, like you said, and just laying out a clear foundation and allowing everybody to understand exactly what they need to do. So I think that pretty much sums it up.
All right. I'm going to read this comment and then we'll sign out. Everybody get to work and do something.
Thank you.
So it says, I like the SOPs. If for anything else, it's what I would use as a business right away. You don't have to create from scratch. It's all written for you by servicers. People sign up. Don't waste time. Servicelinesgroup.com. So get to work, everybody.
Have a great day. Thanks.